I'm making a silver bar for my good friend E-Waste Mike today. Here I have some impure silver powder I want to refine down to pour this good guy a nice bar. I've got my scale zeroed out, and I'd like to send him at least a couple ounces, so it's impure. A troy ounce is 31.1 grams, and so I'll measure out a little bit more than that. Being it's impure, I'm going to add a little extra just to make sure I can get a 2 ounces out of it for him. We'll start with 70.8 grams, I guess. Mike, you might be getting a little more or a little under 2 ounces. Now I'm working with silver in a very finely divided state. I will be adding nitric slowly to help stop creating a boil over. The silver came from relays and breakers. If you'd like to see a video on those, let me know in the comments. But I'm going to start adding a little nitric acid a little at a time, because starting to warm up, and you can see that we get the famous brown fumes, and things are starting to take off. Like I said, I will keep adding nitric slowly, stop creating boil over until everything's dissolved. I did want to stop and bring up, as you see, the solution isn't completely clear anymore. It's a good indication that this is not pure silver. If you dissolve pure silver, that solution will be perfectly clear, and this is why I'm cleaning it up. Just a quick update. You can see the amount of silver has gone down immensely. No, the liquid's still not clear, but a lot of it is just very fine particles of silver floating around. We'll see what it looks like when it's done, but I know this is not 100% pure silver, and this is why I'm re-refining it for Mike. Just another update. You can see we're getting towards the bottom of the silver, but it's still going. I've added more nitric as needed. Alright, another update. Plenty of nitric in here, and you can see there's still something on the bottom. Got a little milky thing going on here. This is why it says not pure silver. If you look, I hope you can see the red tint. As far as I know, this is cadmium. That's why I said this is not pure silver, and this is why it's being redissolved. If anyone has any other suggestions as to what the red tint is, I'll give you another picture. This red, I still have a little bit of silver going on in the solution, but this is a red. As far as I know, and as far as XRF results went, it said cadmium, which is a bad metal to begin with. This is why you don't do this stuff without proper PPE and proper ventilation. Alright, so what we have here is this solution is pretty clear. It's over nitric. I already know it. You can't see it in the video, but yeah, little brown fumes. But as Samuel said before, it's incredibly red underneath. This is cadmium, and everything that will dissolve has been dissolved. What's on the bottom is junk. There's more than enough nitric. Then, yeah, you can see the solution is good and clear. So, what's in the solution is pretty high purity silver. From here, I'm going to filter this solution and start working on getting the silver dropped back out. Here's our nice silver nitrate solution. Very clear, little to no contaminants. This is the junk that was removed from that contaminated silver. I'm very happy with that nice clear liquid. Here's our silver nitrate solution. I've put it in a 1,000 milliliter beaker, and we're going to convert the silver nitrate into silver chloride. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to use a saturated solution of salt water. It's just table salt. We could use hydrochloric, it would do the same. And here we go, I'm pouring it in. Give it a stir. I'm going to let this settle. I'll put a little more salt water in just to make sure everything has converted. Got a little more salt water here. I'm going to put a little bit in just to make sure that we've got everything converted. And I see no more. So everything has been converted to silver chloride. Here's a look at the silver chloride after several rinses. Alright, it's time to convert this to silver oxide. We'll be using lye. And you will see an immediate change. You have to be very careful. This is a highly exothermic reaction. This will get very hot. I have gloves on and I have latex gloves underneath this. A lot of stirring. You have to add enough lye to turn this a nice jet black. Alright, we've got our material all converted to silver oxide. You can see it's nice black. There's no white speckles. Everything's good to go. This is extremely hot right now. It's near boiling. I'm gonna let it sit and cool down a little while, and we'll start adding some sugar water to it to convert it to metallic silver again. Alright, this is cooled down enough to start adding sugar. I have dissolved it in water. It's just my preferred method. You can't add it straight in. You need to add it very slowly because this is another exothermic reaction, and this is where you really stand a chance of boiling over. And you have to stir, baby, stir. So here it goes. A little bit of sugar water. You really have to watch the temperature on this. Normally I would have this in a catch pan in case it did boil over, but for this video, so you can see what's going on, it's not in one, so I have to be extremely careful here. And what we're doing is we're converting the silver oxide into silver metal. A little more. And you know you'll get close because the side of the glass is going to etch over, and it's already starting. I hope it's showing up right here as we're getting a layer of silver that's forming on the glass. I believe they call it a silver mirror. Yep, it's starting to turn. I'm constantly checking the temperature, make sure it's not getting too hot, because like I said, I do not want a boil over here. I have no safety catch pan to catch it if it does. And it may get to the point it gets hot enough I have to stop and let it cool down a little more, and that's okay. A little more in. I'm starting to feel the silver, metallic silver forming on the bottom. It was a very pretty mirroring on the edge of the glass. You can see how and this is almost done. I still do see a couple of more black specks in it, so it's going to need a little bit more. It's extremely hot right now. I may have to set back and let this cool off a little bit before adding any more. But you can see the metallic silver forming down here. you look closely, you can still see a little oxide left. It's not much. So I will have to add just a little more sugar water to it to finish this off. Alright, just a little more. And this can boil now, just to make sure we get everything done. And it looks like that last little bit of additional sugar water did it. It did the trick. We have our metallic silver. I'm going to continue stirring this just to make sure, but it's looking pretty nice. Well, here's our silver. Everything's been converted. We now have our silver powder. It's looking quite nice. From here, I'll just need to decant this liquid off and give it several hot water rinses. We need to wash off the sugar and the sodium hydroxide. I will take on that off camera and get back to you then. Slowly pour this off. Here's a look at our silver. It's still pretty dirty from all the sodium hydroxide and sugar. And this is the first of several hot water rinses. I'm not going to bore you with this, so when I get this done, I'll get back to you. Here's the silver. It's all cleaned up. I did give it a hydrochloric boil and several more rinses after. Working on drying it out now. Alright, our silver's all dried out. Let's melt some silver up and pour bars. Here's our hand poured silver bars. There's a little flux left over. I'll put it in a hot dilute sulfuric boil and it'll clean them up nice. Let's go get a weight on it. Alright, we're zeroed out here. Let's get a weight. There you go. 77 grams of silver headed your way, you Ace Mike.